Welcome back to BotCast. Today, we are not talking to a founder. We are talking to the engineer behind the movie Kalki. We hear from actors, producers, and even directors. But we never know what happens behind the curtains. What does it take to build a vehicle like Bujji or the Bujji bot? Let's meet Rakesh Chintapalli, who is the technical head behind the Kalki movie. Hi Rakesh, welcome to BotCast. Thank you for joining us today.
Welcome.
How are you enjoying the success so far?
Oh, great. Feeling of the success very enjoyable. It's like a long story. 3 years back we started and here we are.
3 years?
Yes.
Okay. And in 3 years, as a technical head, what are your responsibilities?
So technical head is something like which we put a title to it. So I'm like someone who is expertised in 8 engineering trades and a bit of art, a bit of photography, like I can handle camera and all that expertise have put me into this name called technical head. So it's something like the science or a tech behind a problem statement that I can execute for the movie is like the technical head of the movie.
So what was the first problem statement that was given to you?
Oh, it was about building the proof of concept of Bujji. 3 years back, exactly at the same time, I was building proof of concept. So it's about like 1:5 ratio. Like if you've seen the Bujji, and I have to build in a ratio of 1:5. It comes in a size of a go-kart. So we want to check how these hubless wheels works and how the steering works for this. And that's where I started. So I built that in nylon wheels, weightless wheels, and differential steering mechanisms, and a bit of good engineering has went into it.
So effectively you worked on a miniature version of Bujji before it became that huge thing that apparently does not even fit on roads these days.
Yes.
Alright, cool.
It's more of a proof of concept.
And why was that? It's not a production vehicle anyway, so why did you need a miniature version of it?
So proof of concept was to give a confidence to the producers and director.
So before you waste their money.
Yes. Conceptually, is it like really working?
Right.
And the second stage that I went about is I have taken it from proof of concept to a real, the same size, same way what the Bujji looks in a 1:5 ratio, in a proper metal chassis and putting a lot of actuators. Our idea was to make it as a miniature which is completely functional, which can do stunts, which can jump, which can do donut circles. That's a miniature. So all we want to do is avoid VFX as much as possible. That was the idea behind building the miniature. That's where I was like recruited for the movie. But so the VFX team have told that we don't have the exact lenses, and we got new engines for the VFX and all, which makes it look like the real VFX transitions and all. That's the reason we have stopped making the real 1:5 Bujji, which can do real stunts.
So the Bujji can actually do donuts? Can it accelerate at insane speeds? Is that how the real world
It can do a bit
now?
of a donut you have seen in autocar videos and all. And it cannot accelerate. I may not say it can accelerate so much, but I would say it has a lot of torque, 9,800 Newton meter torque. It's like 10 tractors. 10 tractors ka power, pulling power it has. Yeah.
Alright, so before we get into further details, how big of a team were you on the engineering or technical side of this?
So with the Bujji engineering team, like we started with 5, and then we have some interns also joined, and we started with helping art directors with the Bujji, as well as we doing miniature at the same time, and we are also doing canopy at the same time. So multiple things we are doing.
And this was over and above the teams from Mahindra Auto and all of those?
Yes. So the first coming, like we started with a static Bujji. It's a dummy Bujji, what art directors and engineers have built. We started shoot with that, and then Mahindra.
So this is new. So now you have 2 different versions of Bujjis.
Yes.
One is a static one that does not move at all, is it?
Doesn't move at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other one?
The other one is what you're seeing in the promotions and all of that, what Mahindra and GM Motors have.
Okay, how much screen time did each of these versions get?
No, that will keep it confidential.
Alright, the movie is out there and yet they're not willing to reveal a few details. That's okay, let's move on. And now you're talking about the technicals of the, the vehicle, right? It generates about 9,800 Newton meters of torque.
Yes.
And what was the reason for the way the car looks? It's obviously very, very different from a generic run-of-the-mill car that you find on the regular street, right?
Yeah.
Even when you're talking about flying cars in our 1980s, sci-fi movies and all, there's always, the car looked more or less similar. In fact, even Transformers for that matter. You had cars turning into robots and all, but the cars were regular street cars that all look the same.
Yes.
Why does a Bujji look so different?
Yeah, so when you see at the terrains of Kasi, where he's driving the vehicle, based on the terrains, there's something like where it can go anywhere, even climb in any terrain. So that's the reason you can see the vehicle also can travel, move in a upside down position where it swing arms and all turns back and
Right.
the front arms can come up.
Right.
So this was also executing, that's what we thought of executing in a miniature.
Okay.
Yeah, but in how VFX have taken out. So it can move its arms in any way. It's only because to do stunts as well as move in any terrain.
Okay.
So that's the reason it's like that, having bigger arms
Okay.
and multiple joints to, move itself to meet the terrains and stunts.
And was there a specific reason for the spherical wheel in the rear?
Original design has the same front wheel, what you see, hubless wheel, it comes in the back side. Even in my miniature also, the same, that's what I started with. But Nitin Zihani has taken over and he wanted to make it more interesting. And he has made a spherical wheel. And that has troubled me because putting that on a miniature or spherical wheel, conceptualizing is something like really difficult. There is only one wheel, what Goodyear has done, a spherical wheel which can move in different directions. That's a magnetic aviation. But when it comes to
Real world
miniature,
application.
if I have to put that spherical wheel, it's a great challenge for me. So somehow I could say it's a kind of an invention where I use thrust bearings, balls, and enclose them in the certain curvature, and I was able to move the spherical wheel in all the
Well, nevertheless, your technical challenges, it looked awesome on screen. So I'm pretty sure there are a lot of fans for that, and some engineer somewhere must be trying to figure out how these spherical wheels work to put into an actual car. Yes. And obviously, so was it always meant to be Bhairava's car only? It was never supposed to be a family car by any means?
family car. So now that Deepika have gone into his car, you can keep imagining what else can happen. But yeah, it wasn't a family car. It's more about Bhairava catching for the bounties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So another interesting aspect of the car is the Bujji brain itself. How did that come about? What was the thought process behind having Bujji the brain?
No, so it's always interesting to have someone talking to you in the car. So first it was that, and suddenly it popped up. Even I was busy with multiple things, and suddenly the idea of the Bujji brain popped up in our group where director, producer, and our fellow engineers are there. So it popped up, and it felt interesting, and it's my area of expertise, and I said we'll do it. So that's where it started. So the idea of Bujji having a brain for the car is something. To say in a manner, your car has a BCU, it's called body control unit, PCM, power control units, and ECU, electronic control units, which are actually the computers of the vehicle. They only manage all the sensors. But taking it with AI ahead and putting a face to it is something more interesting, right? So, and it's having some robotic movements to talk to you and control your vehicle. That's something like very interesting that has taken off in the movie.
Can Bujji the vehicle and Bujji the head exist separately? As in, can the car drive without Bujji the brain?
To start with, where the movie have started, if you have seen this animation series of Bhairava and Bujji.
Yeah.
So Bujji is a discarded
correct
thing that exists in a scrapyard, and Bhairava finds it, and Bujji helps building. Bujji brain helps building the vehicle.
The vehicle, right.
Yes. So it has a bond with Bujji itself.
Okay.
And it can take over Bhairava's steering also. So Bujji and Bujji brain are basically one as a unity. That's what I can say.
Essentially, what you've also showcased in the movie is a future where every person can potentially have a robot as their ally or as their friend or as their partner, right? Talk to me more about the relationship between Bhairava and Bujji the brain, the relationship between the man and the machine and AI.
In the movie, it's like Bhairava is someone who is selfish.
Okay.
And Bujji only wants to go to complex, or Bujji brain, better say.
Okay.
So, in their journey, they bond with each other, and the movie goes.
Okay.
Right. So, Bujji is always fun to talk with Bhairava, and it mocks him, it makes fun of him, it helps him, it controls the vehicle. So in real life, just imagine if there is something like this, which can also share some emotions.
Right.
It can also talk to us. It
Right.
can also keep up our mood. That's something like crazy, right? Yeah, just imagining it.
Obviously, along the way you've mentioned Bujji the brain is something that has come up in the middle of the making of the movie, right?
Behind it, I didn't talk to production people or the director about it. Like, is it really something which has been in thought before itself, or
Okay.
it just have come? Because all I know is, like, I was busy with multiple stuff and I saw a Bujji brain with the concept artist, and it's like, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've not been narrated the entire script before you started the film, is it?
It's not about script. I wouldn't say it's script. It's about an introduction. Like, there are different habitats and technologically developed people in different, habitats. And
No, you're trying to be diplomatically correct. I'm asking you to the point. Yeah. Were you narrated the story before you started working on the project?
Not completely.
Okay. Yeah. I got my viral answer now.
Yeah.
And of course, Bhairava and Bujji, they have a lot of funny conversations, they have a lot of interesting conversations. There's some sort of a chemistry between the two. How do you, obviously you're a visionary, you're an engineer, you're an artist. Philosophically, when there are people and robots who serve as partners of each other,
Yeah.
how does the society change in your view?
I always fascinated myself to have a robot with me. So, yeah. So I have a bigger labs, and wherever I work, I have bigger places to work, and I have to search for each item in different places. Or it's always a difficulty for me to find the right part in my lab. All I wanted is something like a Jarvis suit, which can get it for me. So that was my fantasy to have one of it.
So you've miniaturized Jarvis into one tiny head that moves around.
Yeah, so we may not say it's Jarvis, but yeah, it's a thing of its own in the movie.
Right. And does the brain actually work, or is it more animatronics and more VFX, or does it actually integrate into some real world ChatGPT or some sort of voice clone, and is there an actual real version of it?
For the movie, it's more about animatronics only.
Okay.
So the reason why we kept it very simple is because on the spot we have script changes.
Right.
All things can be done. Like, we are engineers and we have a very nice AI expert, Vijay, who can also put AI into it and make it functional and operational. But in the shoot time, we have script changes, and the Bujji brain has to actually work or move in its fashion. Like, whenever there is change, again it has to move. Like, it has to change its movements. So we kept it as simple as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's more about animatronics, Bujji brain. Yeah.
And can we expect to buy a Bujji brain out in the market sometime soon with actual AI and voice and all of that?
Confidential, but
okay. That means there'll be a Bujji robot that you can buy off of Amazon very shortly. We'll have affiliate links for you shortly if you want to buy that. All right. How did you end up in the film industry? You're an engineer. This is quite a new uncharted territory in India. Indian movies generally, they've not had an engineering department as far as I've known. So how did this whole thing happen? Why did they even want an engineering team? Why not just put on a random static thing and do everything in VFX?
It's a good question. So, as I've seen, the art directors itself are like engineers. They're good enough. Like we have pretty good art directors, and they are good enough in what they're doing. So why Jayanti movies have got engineers is we have some vehicles in the movies, and they also wanted to make it realistically as much as possible to avoid VFX. And it's a great challenge what they also have taken on us, and it's also a science fiction movie.
Right.
So we have Bujji brain, and
Right.
we have some weapons, we have some nice lighting work, and we have got problem statements where there is engineering involved, and that's where we are taken inside.
And how did you end up on the project? Have you always been a film industry person, or how did you get into this?
Not at all. It's always a fantasy. Like when I see Hollywood movies and the team working for making the movie in the chaos is something which I liked. Always fantasized about it. Saad and Harsha, who have started to work with them earlier, and they found me at T-Works, and they had a conversation. Then I had a conversation with the producer, and the POC of Bujji have started. Yeah, that's my journey into movie.
Okay. And we keep reading about conflicts in the film industry where the actors and directors and producers, all of these have their own brains. They're constantly fighting over small script changes. And I would imagine, a creator versus an engineer, or creator and an engineer trying to work together on an engineering project that is made for fun. How many conflicts did you have with the directorial team?
I wouldn't say it's a conflict. It's more about seeking clarity. That's what I like to put it like this. Because an example, Bujji brain is inside the canopy. So that's where So what you see inside the canopy, the Bujji brain has like 120 miniature parts, which I personally have, done. So suddenly, Nagi have called me and asked, Rakesh, can we have an attachment? A quick attachment where I want to put Bujji brain outside the vehicle. And that was a morning call, and within 3 hours, whatever I had in my lab, I put them together and then taken to Nagi, and it's straightly taken to the shoot. I was surprised, and I was asking Nagi, how is this, Bujji brain is inside the canopy, and how is this again coming outside? So it's there can be a channel for Bujji brain to travel, right? For the night watch, what it's doing in the Kasi set. Yeah, so it's more about seeking clarity, because we followed Nagi's vision on this. And
Right. And what was your greatest challenge in this project? Obviously there are different parts that you've worked on, including, I believe there's also a belt that Deepika Padukone wears. There's all these sort of gadgets that exist in the film, right? So between all of these projects, which one was the hardest one to execute?
The hardest one, I would say, or the challenging one, was the canopy of the glass. So you can see in one of the scratch series videos of Kalki, underlying there is this, everyone told it's impossible to do the glass because it's like a half egg that that's been cut. And many companies in India, or I would say no company in India, was able to, they said it's not possible and we can't do it. And that's where our engineers, we have decided to start some experiments, and we started some experiments and it failed, and then I changed the approach to something else. It's called a positive blow molding, and my approach was to make first half size of it and see how to interpolate it to make it the bigger size.
Okay.
So first I made a half size, and my team have helped me with all the equipment that's required to blow it.
Someone has to stand it. It's actually taking more from there. I'm releasing it. Yes, sir.
Half the size of the Bujji canopy.
Hold on, okay. Woo! Nice, dude. So,
It's still hot.
The MM was so much better.
Yeah.
So this is a low density one.
Yeah, this is the low density
It
one.
took the surface. Yeah.
So is this more like how general glassware is made?
Glassware, yes. Glasswares are made without a buck or a cavity that has to be filled. So it's like when you put a balloon inside a cardboard box and blow it, how it occupies the shape.
Right.
That's the idea. Basically, vacuum forming is the right way to do this.
Okay.
But we didn't have that equipment, or I couldn't see vacuum forming can really help in this project, because we need something to blow very quickly because it's bigger in size, and I felt vacuum wouldn't do it. That's the reason I went for a positive blow molding and pressurized it and making it to touch all the cavity that we want to form.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had a mold and then you
Yes.
blew glass into that.
Yes, yes. So first half size is what I did, and then we interpolated the data to a bigger size.
And why weren't other companies able to pull this off?
So right now on the moving Bujji, what you see, there's this company or this person called Karan done this. But 3 years back, I would say we didn't reach out to him, or they didn't have the right approach that time, because Karan have used some really new approach to do this. He himself has to experiment on this. But back then, no one was ready to do it. So all VFX told is, make that into 4 pieces, so that they will stitch in the VFX, which we didn't like. That's what we went about experimenting and all.
Alright, that's interesting. And overall, how much does Bujji weigh and how big does it look than an average car?
4 times the size of an average car, I could say. 3 times the size of an average car.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's 6.7 ton. It's huge.
Wow. So it cannot go from Hyderabad to Bangalore.
It cannot go from Hyderabad to Bangalore because
Yet.
it requires, it's an electric vehicle. You drive an electric vehicle.
We just have 2 lanes on one side. So.
Yeah, it's too big. It's too huge.
Alright, alright. And who else worked on this project? Is it just the engineering team on the static one, or were there others involved as well?
Yeah, so I'm here to represent my team as well. So Saad, Harsha, Vishnu, Adarsh, Vijay, Advait, and Rajalakshmi and Chaitanya. So Saad, Harsha, and Vishnu are the ones who got the moving Bujji done. So they are the engineers behind this. They've been working with GM and Mahindra for this. And static one, what we started, we all team along with our director Velu. And our director Velu have pulled off like 2 months. Within 2 months, he made a static Bujji, which is a big size. We were literally shocked, like, how can one person with a big team coordinating many parts for that Bujji, like doing in 2 months, we were like shocked. We really admired what he did for the static Bujji. Yes.
Cool. Yes. And obviously we looked at a little bit about your background as well. It appears you've done something called Lightron earlier.
Yes.
What's that about?
So it was an accidental thing when I was shooting for some video with lights, and I happened to move it, and the picture came like a superhero, which is like he's releasing some power out of his body. So I thought, let me explore. So I explored it, and I went about taking shots for like 1 year over like 60 nights. I took about around 12,000 light painted images.
Wow.
And all I wanted to produce is like a superhero movie or a short film without any VFX.
Okay.
So it's like a stop motion, but also something without VFX, with lights, and using lights really to trace something, like an Iron Man. Imagine an Iron Man is like shooting something out of his hand. So I move a red light from here to there,
Right.
and capture a picture in a long exposure and take multiple shots of it and get it as much real as possible with the light.
So is
that
it,
was the
is it a
experiment.
single camera setup with
Yeah,
different
it's a-
varying exposures and shutter times, shutter
Yes.
speeds?
Yes. So
Okay.
it's a single camera setup with varying exposures, shutter times, and the idea was to make it as a superhero thing, and I couldn't find a story around it. Then I found like COVID have come, and I thought, let me restructurize the story to it. That was a data which I had like 7 years back, but luckily I used it for COVID, and I made a COVID awareness video out of it. Like, even a superhero has to wear a mask
Okay.
during the COVID. That was my agenda to share.
Okay.
And very unlucky that YouTube didn't allow COVID data to be put into YouTube.
Okay.
But it didn't take it forward.
Huh.
And I can't even promote it because it's something related to COVID. YouTube have stopped it. But so then I thought, let me do something else or some take directions from someone, and I made a suit of my own, the same Lightron, the superhero, which I designed, and had a digital aerial display and holographic graphic display.
Okay.
And that as a weapon, and I went on the roads and different places doing some, awareness that even a superhero has to wear a mask.
And who was paying for all of this?
Myself. Yeah.
So a true maverick then.
Yeah.
All right. And is there any possibility of seeing Lightron in Kalki 2 or perhaps even another Nagashram project now that you have solid backing there?
Oh, no, I would like to take it with Avengers.
With Avengers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay.
Why not?
So Nag bhai, I'm not sure if you're watching this, but someone is talking about Hollywood here. But let's try to retain them in Tollywood, please.
Yeah.
All right. And before Lightron and before Kalki and all, what kind of an educational background or what's your story?
I've done my bachelor's in mechanical engineering from Geetham University.
Okay.
And then I worked in Wipro Eco Energy, and exactly after 2 years I left Wipro, and then I came back and met you. So came to Hyderabad.
So
and
disclaimer, obviously now that he's revealed, we've known each other for quite a long time.
Yeah. So Pallav has given me a place in his Nagal office. It's a very sophisticated place for me and other few of my juniors to work and be whatever we wanted to be, and here we are today. And yeah, so and then I went Vizag. I absconded myself for 1.5 years doing research on inertial propulsions and CVT gearboxes, and I came back. I thought go to Germany or US into a nice college to pursue my MS, and I had a solid data of the research what I've done. All I wanted to go there, and then I found I don't want to work in Pizza Hut or a petrol bunk to serve make my living in outside of India. Then I thought, let me start YouTube channel. Then this Lightron thing have come. I've done some YouTube videos, and
Effectively, before you came into Kalki, you had no job, and that's the only reason why you joined Kalki, is it?
it's never that. I've been freelancing, working as a consultant for different companies. Partnered with Joginder and Yuvraj for this company called Pulse Active Stations, which is a Y Combinator company, and
Wow.
it has a great fame. And that tenure was for 2 years. We were going crazily, expanding. Yeah, that was there.
All right. And what does your future look like? Are you going to continue in films? Is there a next Kalki coming up?
Never know, because all I wanted is challenges, and different stages. I was taking different challenges, and now this was not planned journey. Kalki, working for Kalki is not a plan. All I was doing is working for some airlines, doing some tech stuff, or working for companies, doing some industrial design, all of that, and doing some creations, doing some art, working for T-Works, building some props for them.
Wow.
So the Venom, what you see, the droid, what you see was done by me with some team there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So T-Works has a lot of cool stuff, and some of those were developed by Rakesh himself. So what do you call yourself? Are you an engineer? Are you an artist? Are you a philosopher? What do you call yourself?
I have a story to surround it. In my schooling, someone have asked, I told I'm interested in automobile, I'm interested in mechanical engineering as well, I'm interested in that. So he asked me, see, you should go on only one ship, one boat, not on 2 boats. So right now, I'm someone who does 8 engineering trades. I do art, I do photography, I sculpt, I do sculpturing, I do many things. Whatever there is skill involved, I'm into it. I would better say I'm someone who is an inventor.
Okay.
And innovation is my, boat, single boat.
Cool.
Be it entrepreneurship, be it working with companies or whatever it is.
And do you think there is scope for innovators or further scope for innovators in the film industry?
I would better say there would be scope for engineers, designers.
And what kind of engineering or design work do you think exists?
So right now, we never expected this Kalki sci-fi movie would come, but now that we are getting into limelight, and in future, being inspired by Kalki, other movies also coming into it, like into existence and making.
Are you working on any other project now in the film industry?
I'm actually working with art director Velu. I've worked for Voltaire Veeraya, The Helicopter, and some Tamil movies also. So it's some sci-fi content is coming up, so I can't disclose it.
So effectively, if you're a good engineer, if you're a good innovator, then apparently there is a career for you in the film industry as well, something that is not a very typical career choice, right?
Yeah.
What would you advise someone who's just coming up, who's an innovator, who's a crazy maverick, who's great storytelling tip or great storytelling abilities? What would you advise them in getting or in building a career in the film industry?
Building a career in the film industry right now, I may not say upfront there are like multiple movies coming in India and please plan for it. Because in the Hollywood, I would definitely encourage everyone to go. But in India right now, I don't see much.
So even if I were to go to Hollywood?
Because we never know, we only had one Indian cricket team, then ICL and IPL have come and it has given chance for like hundreds of cricketers, right?
So we need more and more Nag Ashwins to create this sort of a space for our engineers.
Yes.
So even if I were to go to Hollywood, for example, what kind of roles exist?
So Animatronics is one thing that exists a lot because Animatronics can be taken over by VFX and all of that. And I would say Bujji Brain is also an animatronics. So now you see Bujji Brain has pitch motion, yaw motion and roll motion. And here I would like to talk about Bujji Brain, you see driving that kind of a motion from a single joint is like not easy. All I wanted to avoid rolling motion or some motion so that my job gets easier. But Nagi always pushed me, try to get it. And it has taken sufficient time for me to do it.
What was the greatest technical challenge there?
There?
Yeah. As in moving in between pitch, yaw and roll,
yes,
you had to pick 2 out of 3 at all times.
The joints will allow you to move in only one direction. So one joint to be clubbed on the other joint will make you to move in 2.
Okay.
And this joint on the other, mounting that on other thing is something like couple of it's a series of or a sequence of 3 joints to be integrated. That's the difficult challenge.
So is it a mechanical challenge at that point or a control challenge? What's the primary challenge when you have those 3 joints working together?
It was a mechanical joint and actuators, the degree of motion that it can give, that was also a challenge. And the other challenge is finding the finest servos.
Okay.
And the so-called actuators and making that Bujji Brain to move against the inertia and against the weight is something a greater challenge.
Okay, and the technology that I've implemented for this, be it the actuators or how the joints are built and all of that, can we ever expect them to come into a mass market humanoid like Tesla's Optimus or something like that? Do you have any plans for that?
Confidential.
Always. All right. When are you launching that?
Confidential.
Confidential. All right. There can't be so many confidential things in one podcast, man. Come on, you get to pick only one.
Right? You don't ask that question.
All right. And one thing I really love about the West is, how Disney has created this thing called Imagineering, right? The Disneylands, the kind of experiences they created. So obviously it's all entertainment, but the level of engineering that goes into it is absolutely top-notch. And is there potential for those kind of projects in our country? Obviously we are a very large population. There must be demand somewhere.
If next Halloween happens in India, maybe.
Yes. Okay. And is there a Kalki Park that we can expect anytime soon?
Oh, that's a good question. I should put this to the producers.
Okay, and if someone is picking it up, the idea is coming from All India Robotics Association. Royalties should go where they deserve. All right.
Sure.
What powers the Bujji vehicle? Is it petrol or diesel or EV? What is it?
In the promotion, what you see in the videos that's going on the road, what you see, it's an electric vehicle.
Okay. And the one in the movie? Because we've never seen it fuel up.
So in the movie, there is, in a shot where Bujji gets damaged by Ashwadama and Bhairava takes it back to his place, and you see there is a battery. Like
Right.
the cover removes and battery comes out. It's in a burning condition, and Bhairav removes that and puts a new battery into it. It's a fuel cell basically. It's been powered by a
fuel cell. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, given the difference in size between the vehicle and the battery, I thought that was just powering the brain, not the whole vehicle.
No. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we are talking about 800 years into the future, so
Yes,
solid
yes.
state batteries or something like that, which is very compact, is absolutely possible. That's there. And so, how does the process actually work? So, the director gives you a vision, and the art director gives you a vehicle, and from there, what happens?
Let's not subject it to art director. The problem statements once comes out, like it might come from a digital artist or a concept artist, and it comes to us, and we see it's an engineering department or an art department, and that's how it goes to our department. And between we have this production designer who also does the same job like concept artist and all of that. He plays all the roles there.
Okay.
And he helps us conceptualize it. And
So, how many departments are typically involved? There's an art director, there's a production designer, then there's this engineering team, then there's the director. Who else plays a role in this?
in which
Obviously, the producer who's giving you the money, but that aside,
yeah, we have artists.
and so what do they take care of?
In the movie, the major props have been done by them. Like we should really appreciate this Chandu and Kittu who have done a great part in the movie. So how is it different from us, like engineers? So we have been taught in a course of industrial design and product design. If something comes to us or something, or the director or production designer asks us to make or visualize something, it will take like forever for us, because I would say we need problem statements, we need some inspirations, we need 3D printing to be done, we need something to put on the computer. For example, if we have to do a gun, and then doing the painting and all of that, it's a bigger process because we can only see with our eyes of being an engineer and designer. But we have these amazing people, Chandu and Kittu, and they're the fine artists, and they select different parts from the scrap, or I would say some different materials what they have collect from the market, and they assembles it in a very nice way and puts it on the table,
Okay.
and it speaks for itself.
Okay. And
that's the
typically,
difference.
where does the problem statement originally come from? Does it come from the directorial team or the story writing team? Where does it actually come from?
It can come from different people. Like on the spot, Nagi wants something. On the spot, Nitin also can initiate something.
Okay.
And some things can be also planned. It comes from everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you actually build things even while the shoot is happening.
Yes, that's the life of us in the movie. So it's always a last minute save for all of us.
And so how many times does your product change over the course of the movie's shoot, production?
It changes, depends on different scenarios. For example, the capsule or inverted pyramid where Deepika Padukone been taken into that capsule, that red color lighting, what you see. The idea was to make it like burn red to magenta.
Okay.
So different layers, different colors. That's what Nitin have asked me to do. So it's like this. So Nitin actually has done the pattern there, and me and Nitin are like very goofy kind of a people, and I asked Nitin, what is this? I thought you will give me a challenge for that lighting set. Like you have given it like very easy. And I went out to a factory to work on the miniature. By the time I came, it all changed. He told, you asked for a challenge, and here it is. I was like shocked. And the lighting was very typical for me to handle it. People in the set were also like very disappointed. Rakesh, you asked for a challenge and he gave you. See, like when are you going to do this? I said, I'm going to do this. Don't worry. And night 9 o'clock I was supposed to start the lighting because next day was the shoot. It's all like this. And 9 o'clock I was supposed to start, and there was paint work happening and I can't touch it. Night 3 o'clock I started the lighting for that. And all I want to do is, I pre-worked a lot so that the light changes from red to magenta in the background. It's like burning color.
Right.
And I registered all my electronics there. I've done work, like hours of work there. At the last moment, no, let's keep it just red everywhere. Oh my god, again I have to change all the electronics that tweaking the colors there. And the shoot has started 7 o'clock. The camera's faced that way to the pods and I'm working here fixing the lights, silently. It was always, it's always this last minute works that we do because we want to do as much creative, as much development as possible for the shot. That's what I would say.
Right.
Instead of
why did they make that change back to a normal red light?
So we have a color patterns and themes in the movie, so it's all about that. So
all right.
Magenta you wouldn't see in the movie anywhere. So
right.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
So effectively, as a technical head, Bujji the car, Bujji the brain, and whatever other electronics or lighting equipment that were necessarily built for the movie, these were the only ones, or was there any other thing that you built as a technical head? Were you responsible also for how the cameras move around, or was that not your department at all?
That wasn't my department. Practical lighting was my major department also, and I've been with SFX people also.
SFX as
special effects. Special
effects, okay.
Yeah, so we want some color bombs to be blasted in the Shambhala set. I've done some experiments around that. I've been touching wherever there is a new problem statement where there is R&D involved. I have to be there and do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And to conclude, obviously, we are more interested on the robotics side of it. We are All India Robotics Association after all. So we're constantly trying to find problem statements that robots can, find a solution for. What problem statements exist in the film industry? Obviously, there's big cameras moving around, big lights that people have to lug on their backs when they're traveling. There might be hundreds of other use cases. What are the greatest challenges that robots can solve in the film industry? Be it in production, post-production, wherever.
So handling the cameras is something where robotics can definitely involve.
Okay.
So there are some shots in the Hollywood where SCARA robots controls the camera.
Okay. Is it already in use in the market?
Yes, I've seen some shots of it.
In India or elsewhere?
Not in India.
Okay.
I've seen in the videos.
Okay.
Hollywood videos. And this is something which I also recognized, imagine that, you remember this shot where Ashwadama from the garbage truck or the rebel truck, he removes the pipe and comes forward.
Yeah.
That shot, I myself have seen it 6 or 7 retakes have happened. When I was there in the set, when I went out, I don't know how many times. So Ashwatthama comes forward, and the camera also comes back in a
sync.
In a sync.
Yeah.
Not exactly equal distance, but in a different, wider shot.
Right.
Or a closer shot. This mismatch is something where it has taken for a longer time.
Okay, so it wasn't a problem with the actor or what was happening, but it was just a sync between the camera and the person's movement there.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's where I feel, motion can be recorded and fed, and maybe the best shot can also be repeated by having some attachment for the actor, and its motion and camera's motion can be definitely synced.
Right.
So that's what I felt
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, some sort of an intelligent machine that the directors can pre-rig.
Yes. That's what even all my observations at that place, being someone good at robotics, was that for me.
Okay.
So yes.
Alright guys, so anyone that is working on robotic solutions, you have now one problem statement given by Rakesh, and that is applicable to the film industry.
Yeah. So record the camera movement or the rig movements and make it repeat in the same fashion or in the same method or way. That is something where
no, I mean, our inventors are geniuses. They'll find all ways of solving these problems without pre-rigging as well.
Yes.
There's artificial intelligence all over. There is IoT. There is robotics arms. There's all kinds of magic that our people will come up.
Yes.
But yeah, we have a definite problem statement that we can pick up now. And thank you so much for joining us, Rakesh. It's been a very impressive journey. Thank you so much for taking time to discuss with us. Any last words to our audience, to our young innovators in the engineering, in the robotics space?
Yeah. First, thanks to Pallav for the BotCast hosting this, and thanks to AIRA. Robotics is something like, I've been fascinating all my life. And Elon Musk has a greater vision around this, and everyone can be a part of it. Like, the future is more about robotics, and I wish there are more inventors and more engineers contributing to robotics.
So as you must have seen throughout this podcast, he's a man of few words. But he's one of the most maverick people that I've personally encountered in my life. Absolute genius. He's worked on many different projects of various kinds. And as you've seen throughout the podcast, he's a man of very few words, but he's extremely talented across a range of things, be it engineering, be it art. And I personally refer to him often as the Tony Stark of Hyderabad. If any one of you is interested in interning with him or other things, do write to us. You'll find our details all over the web. In fact, you might also find our email address in the description as well. If you have any questions for Rakesh or even for us, do drop a comment, and obviously do like, share, follow and subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.